And now I'd like to introduce a very special person. Not only is she a rocket scientist, she's a rock star, a Honeywell rock star. She is Elizabeth Bierman, and she's a principal systems engineer for Honeywell Aerospace in Minneapolis, Minnesota. She has been with Honeywell since 2003, 2003 in a variety of roles in systems engineering, customer support, and program management. Elizabeth has been involved with Society of Women's Engineers since 1994, even though she doesn't look that old. Did you start when you were in grade school? She served as a board and as secretary and president. Last year, Elizabeth was inducted to the Space Camp Hall of Fame. Yeah. She has a bachelor's in aerospace engineering and a master's in systems engineering from Iowa State University and an MBA from Bentley University. Please give her a very warm welcome, Elizabeth Bierman.
Okay, thank you, Kerry, for that introduction. And I'm very excited to be here on behalf of Honeywell tonight. I will say I get giddy when I drive up and see the rockets, so it's really an honor to be with you here tonight. You know, and I'm very fortunate to work for a company that is passionate about science and engineering as I am. And they truly believe, as I do, that it's the engine that drives the success at Honeywell. You know, and the goal of the Hometown Solutions and why you're here is really that we're trying to create a pipeline of talented men and women who are going to be our future leaders, and also our engineers, scientists, and mathematicians. So Honeywell sees a critical need for the increase of STEM education programs and has been trying to fill that gap with programs just like this to engage and inspire the teachers and students. And so for me, I'll tell you my journey. So my journey kind of started in the 4th grade. I got a lunchbox, and on it was a picture of an astronaut. And I was like, oh, that could be something I would want to do. And so the dream was started then. Unfortunately, 6 months later, the Challenger accident happened. And instead of being discouraged, I really wanted to know about the astronauts that perished that day. And so this was before the internet. And it took me a while, but I really learned that a few of those astronauts were aerospace engineers. So by now I'm in the 5th grade. But anyway, so I'm 11 years old, and I tell myself I'm going to be an aerospace engineer. I have no idea what that means. But all I know is that it might bring me down the path of being an astronaut. And I think from that day on, for the next 2 years, I begged my parents to go to space camp. And either they wanted me to be quiet, or they said she's not going to give up. But 2 years later, I was able to attend space camp. So it was the summer between 6th and 7th grade for me. And it really was a pivotal moment for me in my childhood. And I think it was because I was in awe of being surrounded by people who had the same dream as me. My crew trainer was a student of aerospace engineering, so I finally met somebody who was doing what I wanted to do. And I really left knowing that if I really wanted to do this and put the hard work in, I was able to do it. It's one thing hearing it from your parents, but it was really inspiring to hear it from, you know, a whole different set of people. And fortunately, when I went back into 7th grade, I had really great math and science teachers. And honestly, I had really great math and science teachers for the remaining years in middle school and high school. And I say that because they were able to fuel my passion for what I wanted to do. And never once did they say, are you sure that's really what you wanted to do? Or don't you think that might be too hard? Or why would you want to go into something like that? So I really, you know, never had a discouraging moment for the dream that I had starting when I was in the 4th grade. And then I got to college. And I think that was the first time that I realized that there's not a lot of girls or underrepresented minorities that like to go into engineering. And so I'm in my classes, and I'm one of 2 females in my aerospace engineering program. And again, instead of being discouraged, I just looked out and said, okay, I'm going to have to find my community of support, and how am I going to get through this? And for me, that was the Society of Women Engineers. And it was an organization that I joined right when I started college. And it really gave me that support structure that I needed to get through the hard classes, the feeling of isolation in some of my classes that I had, and really just to, make new friends, which became my network, and get through college. And then I was able to stay involved with that organization after graduation. And I needed that organization for a whole different set of, reasons. Finding mentors, looking for role models, having the challenges that you have at work. So if there's not a lot of females in engineering at college, guess what? There's not a lot of females in engineering at the workplace. So that's why that organization has really just been, my go-to resource and really that community of support that I've relied on for a number of years. And then also just, working with Honeywell. They've been a good support structure for me as well to be able to have a very challenging career. Like Kerry said, right now I'm a systems engineer in Minneapolis, and what I do is I work on commercial navigation. So when you get on a plane and go home tomorrow, just know that you'll get there safely because of Honeywell technology and the navigation that's going to help that pilot get to your destination. But again, when I was in 4th grade and said I was going to be an engineer, it never crossed my mind that I would ever work on commercial navigation. I didn't even know what navigation was, let alone I had never been on an airplane at that age either. So that's the other wonderful thing about STEM education is that it opens doors that you don't even know exist. And for the students that you're teaching right now, the job that they're probably going to have when they graduate doesn't even exist. And so just the passion for you to be able to go into the classroom and tell them that whatever you want to do, I guarantee there's something in STEM that you'll be able to do, with the passions that you have. And Honeywell has also allowed me to have, a career that's challenging, but also being able to provide me with the work-life balance that I want. So I do have 2 young daughters. They just finished 4th grade and 2nd grade. So they're closer to middle school than I probably want to believe. But what's great about watching them grow up and, starting to get into the K-12 system is that they know what STEM is. When I was young, and probably when some of us were young, that wasn't even a word that existed. And now it's very trendy. And I say that in a very positive way. Like, they don't think twice about, what STEM means, and they're excited about doing STEM activities at school. And then the other thing, when I look at the difference between them growing up and myself, is that when I told people I wanted to be an engineer, they said, oh, you must be really smart. Or you have to be really smart in math and science if you want to accomplish this goal. And I think that's really just the wrong messaging that we need to give our young students today. And we really need to start changing the message to say, what are you passionate about? How do you want to make a difference in this world, and how do you want to help people? And then show them the ways that they can do that with STEM education. Because a lot of people, I think, are being turned off by maybe getting, a B in math, and it might happen as early as 7th grade, and then they go in a totally different direction. And we need to remind them that we need more students, young men and women, to go into STEM to be able to fill the pipeline that's, short right now and what we need to do. So in closing, your presence here this week indicates that each of you have distinguished yourself with a drive and commitment towards teaching. And I encourage you to fuel the passions in your students, just like I was received as well. And I hope you've been able to take advantage of all the things that were offered this week, and that you have a new foundation that will be able to move beyond the standards of math and science curriculum taught in the classrooms and show your students all the cool things that we can do with a STEM education. So thank you.